This is Brian with screeningfiles.com and review, and what I'm looking at today is Bodies, Bodies, Bodies by Helena Reagent. And while knowing that this movie came from A24, a studio I tend to like, I didn't have any interest in seeing this movie because, let's be honest, Pete Davidson, who as a comedian I don't think is terribly funny, and I think he has terrible tattoos. And that was reason enough for me to not see this movie at the time it was released. And that's a pity because it is a very good movie. And in fact, Pete Davidson is very good in it. Now keep in mind, I suspect that Pete Davidson is acting like Pete Davidson. In other words, it's not like there's a reach, but his performance is very well done and very well realized. It works really well. And if you're not familiar with the story around Bodies, 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 it revolves around a bunch of college friends having a get-together and being trapped in a storm. It initially doesn't sound like much, but it is such a clever, smartly done movie, though I'm not at all sure what it's trying to say. Now keep in mind, that's my issue, not the movie's. The movie is very, as I said, clever, and just because I'm not necessarily in a place to understand everything that it's saying doesn't make it less clever. In any case, the movie seems very intent on keeping viewers disorientated and uncomfortable. And in fact, it opens on a kiss, a very deep kiss between two women, which is probably the most uncomfortable thing I've seen on screen in quite a while. And that's including pornography, by the way. It's just the way the scene is shot. It feels very voyeuristic, and I can't speak for anyone else, but me watching it, I didn't want to be there. It made me feel that ill at ease. In any case, these people get together and they end up playing a game called Bodies, 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 which I never heard of prior to the movie. And it revolves around a person being chosen as the killer. No one knows who the killer is. And the lights are turned off, and through a tag-like process, once again, I don't quite understand the game, but there's a dead person, and everyone else has to solve how that person was killed. What's fascinating about it, though, is that the way it brings out how incredibly shallow these people are, and how the game very quickly devolves into genuine violence and potentially even a death. It is a fascinating movie, and the way it plays with tropes is even more interesting. And I suspect that lesser movies would have the same scenario but have some supernatural occurrence be at the heart of it, because these people are ridiculous in the way they turn on each other, the way they hold each other in such contempt, and how, despite them being friends, it's fairly apparent they don't know each other at all. And they shouldn't even be together. They seem to despise each other on a very deep level. On a very surface level, they get along pretty well, but they do not like each other, and they tolerate each other for various reasons. And the interactions between them, as their true feelings about each other come to the fore, is just so fascinating to watch. Bodies, 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 I want to describe it first as a great movie, though great has a lot of meaning, and I deliberately didn't use it in the case of Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It is a supremely entertaining movie. It is a fun movie. It is well acted. It is scary at points. Though I guess I have issues with calling it great is because there's baggage that accompanies that. There are pretensions that accompany that. And Bodies, Bodies, Bodies doesn't really fit in those kind of boxes. It's by no means an Oscar winner, but it is in its own way a great movie. It is also a comedy. It is a dark comedy. It is the blackest dark comedy I've seen in quite a while. It is funny. It plays with current social mores and does a lot of interesting things. This movie is a shocker. It is that good and that perceptive and that clever. This is not going to be long because, as you can tell, I really enjoyed it. If you have not seen Bodies, 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 rent it. As for myself, I think it's one to add to the collection. It is that good. So what do you think? This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Review. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know down below. And as usual, consider a like or a follow. Peace.